All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's 1 p.m. on December 11th, and we are officially calling this meeting of the AIB to order. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded as public record, and that participation in a recorded meeting will be deemed as consent to be recorded, including statements both written and oral. Public records, including this recording, can be requested at any time in accordance with the Vermont Public Records Act. So hi, everybody. Happy snow day.
Do happy and snow day go together?
In my family, it does. Let's get Ian in. All right, we are going to do a round of introductions. So let's see if I can get through our members first. I'm just going to go down my line. So Amanda?
Hi, Amanda St. Pierre, dairy farmer in Berkshire and executive director of the Vermont Dairy Producer Alliance.
Thanks. Anne?
Hi, Ann Hazelrig, plant diagnostic clinic, plant pathologist, UVM.
Steve? Do I know? Sorry.
Steve
I'm going
Darnell,
alphabetical.
Director, Public Health and Agricultural Resource Management Division for the Vermont Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets.
Thanks. Earl?
Hang on a second.
Oh. I heard you, Earl. You there? Nope. We'll skip you for a minute. Jonathan?
Jonathan Chamberlain, crop consultant.
Abby?
Did you say Abby?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Abby Pajak, DEC.
Oh, hi, Sarah. Go ahead, Sarah. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm on the phone. Sarah Owen, state toxicologist for the health department.
Roy, go ahead.
Roy Beckford, extension director, UVM.
Steve Schubart.
Steve Schubart, grass-fed beef, minor in dairy, experience in supply chain development.
Wendy Sue.
Wendy Sue Harper. I'm a soil scientist and I represent the soil biology position.
Thanks, Wendy Sue. And Earl, are you back? You want to give a quick introduction?
I'm not sure am I back now?
I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Earl Ransom, organic farmer from Stratford, an on-farm processor.
Thanks. Okay, I think that's all the members I have. So I'm Morgan Griffith. I work with Agency of Ag with Steve in the Public Health and Ag Resource Management Division. And
I think you're missing Ann Hazerig. Am I wrong?
I think I got Ann because she was at the top of my alphabetical list.
Yeah, I
Did
was
get you, Ann?
second.
Okay. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Benefit of an A name, Ann. Okay, so Christina Van Dunk.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Christina Van Dunk. I work with the Windsor Group. Right now we're working on the USDA Project Discrimination Financial Assistance Program.
Thanks. Emily May.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily May. I'm a pollinator conservation specialist with the Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Emily. Jill.
Good afternoon, I'm Jill Goss. I'm a feed seed fertilizer specialist with the agency.
Jonathan Wolf.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jonathan Wolf with Primer Piper, Eggleston Kramer on behalf of CropLife America Biotech Innovation. Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Stephanie?
Stephanie Smith with the Vermont Agency of Agriculture.
Sydney? No. How about Zach?
Zach Shkowski, Agency of Agriculture.
And Jessica?
Jessica Tessier, Ag Resource Management Specialist for the Agency of Agriculture.
Thanks. I think that I got everyone that I can see. So before we move on, we sent out and posted the minutes for last month's November 13th meeting. I don't think I heard from anybody about any edits to those minutes, but does anybody have anything that they know of now that need to be changed?
Morgan, this is Sarah. I'll just admit that I forgot to read them.
Okay, you can do it if you do it again. Just let me know if anything sticks out.
Thank you.
And today's agenda is pretty bare bones. We're just going to kind of go through a report. I kept putting quotes around that because it's not a mandatory report, but we do owe a recommendation. So I thought the best way to do it was to put it in some sort of report like we would for our end of year report. So that report is going to the Agency of Ag from the AIB saying, hey, this is what we learned. This is what we think. This is what we recommend. So it's just going through that as any comments or changes to that draft is the main chunk of today's meeting. And then I believe that we have a few members of the public that want to chime in. So we'll leave them some time at the end of the meeting. And one thing that's not on the agenda, but I did send out a couple weeks ago is that, and I'll pull it up, is we just wanted to give everyone an idea of what we have for use of neonics in Vermont. There are some asterisks here, but to summarize pretty quickly is that we gather data on neonics, but the data that we collect is for certified applicators, basically all of our certified applicators, excluding private applicators. So anyone who's commercial, non-commercial, or government certified applicators have to send in an annual usage report to us. So the data that's in here is from accumulation of all of those usage reports. So we filtered that data for neonics. And so this big chart kind of gives you the last 5 years of data that we have. 2022 usage data has not been entered into the database to date, so we are still processing that data. So we haven't gotten that yet. That's why the last 5 years is 21 to 17. Main takeaway messages from this is that, so this is commercial use, excluding private, and it's also excluding treated seed use, because that is not included as a pesticide to be used. So imidacloprid is the highest usage. This is in total pounds, and then in what category was it used in. So imidacloprid is big. You can basically see this is just a snapshot of the 2021 data. So the main category where it's used is lawn care and ornamentals, followed by golf courses. And We tried to, there's some general pest control, that's like structural pest control and things like that. We tried to give an estimate of what it would look like if treated seed neonic use was included in this. And so that's this last paragraph here is using some assumptions of how many acres per year, and then kind of looking at a range of how much active ingredient could be on the seed. And so we tried to do it for corn and soybean. And it netted out, this is for corn first. So it was estimated that it could be from about 1,500 to 7,400 pounds of neonic active ingredient per year. And then if you do that out as like a rate, it would be 0.02 to 0.08 pounds of active ingredient per year. And that range is based on that because what is on the seed. So from the low to the high kind of dosage rate on the seed. And for soybeans, we're much lower. We have much less acres in soybean. I know that this is probably still an underestimate, but the last data that we had to really reference was this 2022 USDA cropland estimated acreage of soybeans, and that was 7,000. So we're below 200 pounds of neonic active ingredient. So this last sentence is kind of like our main takeaway was comparing rate per acre basis. So the imidacloprid for lawn care and ornamental industry, they have a maximum rate per acre per year of 0.4 pounds. And we're looking for treated seed, the maximum rate per acre based on if you're using the highest dosage is 0.08 pounds active ingredient per acre per year. So we just shared that with members, and it will go up on the website in the meeting materials for this meeting. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Wendy Sue.
I would love it. I didn't see that this was attached to the document the legislature's getting, and I really think it should be part of it.
Oh, that's a good comment. Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, does anybody else have? Sorry guys, I'm trying to see you here. Anybody else in agreement? Attach it with. So the document that we're talking today isn't necessarily, we can attach it. The one that goes to the legislature is our annual report. And then the draft that we were talking about today is to the agency. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment. I mean, everything that was been, covered by the meeting will be accessible to the legislature. So there'll be links, and I think the way you've done it, Morgan, there's links in the report to the meeting materials. So everything, including, any public comment we get, will be accessible and pointed out to the legislature that it's available. So, all the information the board's heard and considered will be there.
Great. Any other questions, comments on the thoughts on the neonic use? Cool. All right, so this try to make it bigger. So this is the draft document that we've been leaving comments on for the last couple days. And it's trying to summarize everything we've learned and what we recommend. And kind of the introduction just goes through how much hard work we've been going through, basically, and we've met 17 times, and we've learned a lot, and we've heard from a lot of people from all different sides and aspects of the relevant topic. And then these are our 7, which we've seen over and over again. These are the topics to be addressed that were called out in our legislative charge. So kind of, and keep, I don't need to like talk. So just kind of chime in, raise your hand, do whatever. If I don't see your hand raised, I'm sorry. Just kind of yell out. But we have some comments. So one, I know for formatting, if you guys want to chime in on this, and I am fine anyway, is we had put, these are the links to each of these specific presentations that we heard on these days relevant to these topics. And so Sarah made a comment of saying, hey, can we make these footnotes? So then the key takeaways are first, right? So they're the first thing that you read instead of reading all these through all these links. So I'm fine with moving them into footnotes if you guys agree. I'm seeing a nod from Ann. Cool.
Hey, Morgan, it's Stephanie.
Yeah.
I'll monitor raised hands because if you're looking at your document, you can't see them. So I'll try to do that for you.
Yeah, I'm trying. Thank you. I'm trying to go. I'm looking to the side because I have. Yeah, trying to see a couple.
And no
different
one's
screens,
raising their
so
hand
thank
right
you.
now. So
Okay. Okay, and so Wendy Sue, yeah, you can speak to this comment if you want to. So and just call out. This is the Kim Stoner is the like the Connecticut, Rhode Island best management practices document, right, Wendy Sue?
Yes. Yes. It just, it gives a sense that there are some documents like that out there, that's all, as a resource.
For E. Or like
I thought that would be best under E.
Yeah, okay. But so it's okay. So we'll put it as a footnote if I'm moving all of them to the foot. Yeah, okay. Okay. So these key takeaways are we've been through this document before, so these should look familiar to most of you. We've been through this and we added where we thought we had gaps of what we learned that weren't in. So then those were added after our discussion of the key takeaways. So these should be familiar. We have some edits, which I'm fine with, for genetically engineered corn seed. Unless anyone doesn't want those. We okay with that? Okay. So the next topic is availability. And we heard, quite a bit about it, and we had no comments on that section. So it's basically limited availability of untreated hurts the ability to exchange closer to the growing season, the complexity of adding it for the seed industry, a little bit about diamides that we learned. Okay. All right, economic impact. Same, I don't see any comments on that section. We're okay. Right. Tell me if you want me to slow down. I just don't want to repeat things we've already heard. So okay. Oh, so this is human health and environment. And so I know, Sarah, you had some comments. So let's start with you, Sarah, if you're able to chime in, and we'll edit as we need to.
Yeah, sorry, I can't access the internet version of your presentation, but I think I was just making sure that I was making the right sort of, putting the right pieces together by adding that sentence to the human health section that, in addition to saying, what we learned from the EPA risk assessment, that since this is mostly for this food is being grown not for human consumption, that it's, not the most relevant thing to focus on. So I just wanted, I think that's the right conclusion, but I wanted to make sure that I was picking up everything correctly. That most of the treated seed that we're talking about is corn for silage. It's not corn for people to eat, right?
Yes, I think that's correct.
Okay. Yeah, because I listened to the last meeting, but I wasn't present during the meeting, so that's what I gathered from the last one. Yeah, I thought that might just be a helpful addition to kind of make sure that people don't incorrectly focus on some of the human health stuff with that.
Okay. Do you want me to pull it out? So right now, I think this sentence is kind of under a bullet about the reviewing the EPA human health risk assessment. Do you mind if I pull it out from underneath that?
Oh no, that sounds great.
Right, because it's not really like that's kind of a separate human health assessment, not assessment, but takeaway. Yeah, right. So it's not necessarily, it wasn't in the EPA like reviewed document of imidacloprid, but it's another point.
Yeah, I think right now it was kind of written sequentially because I don't think that I fully grasped that concept that this treated seed was not the type of seed that's being grown for people to eat the produce, and so that kind of came to me later. But yeah, I think putting that at the top would make sense, and then the other stuff supports that.
Okay. Sorry, I'm writing in two different places. I'm not going to put it on the comment on the paper for those of you seeing that, but we'll edit it. And so Wendy Sue, so about amphibians, do you want it to add to this? So this was the same thing. We can add it. Do you want to add a separate? Because I'm not sure the EPA ecological risk assessment, unless I'm not remembering correctly, but do you want to add it as like a separate bullet for the risk to amphibians?
No, that's all right. I just remember seeing papers on amphibians. That's why I put it there.
Oh, okay. You know what? Why don't, because I know you put it in the comment lower down too. So in like that summary comment, why don't we put it in the summary comment? But or maybe I can look up to see if there's other ones that we can make a separate bullet for it. I just know that it wasn't called out, I think, in the EPA one. And so either I'll call it out in a separate bullet, or I'll just add it to the one in the summary sentence, kind of when you said add it there too.
Down below is fine.
Yeah, okay.
Use edge.
Oh, farmers treating their own seed. I'm sure there's a way for me to see who added this comment, but I don't know right now. But does someone want to elaborate on that thought?
Oh, that was me.
Okay.
I remember we had this conversation where they said that the dust is worse when farmers treat their own seed instead of use seed that's already treated. And I don't remember which lecture that was from.
Code you just got on your phone.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Is everyone okay if we leave it as Wendy Sue has added? Does it make, yeah, so source of take exposures to non-target species come from. Yeah, so we can leave it as is. Okay. Guys, we're flying. Good job. Okay. F, our topic, ways to reduce pest harborage from conservation tillage. We heard a lot about basically no-till from John Tooker, and heard a little bit from Heather Darby. And we realized that this is pretty complex in our state. That's kind of was our big takeaway. So no one had any comments about that. System of approval. This is where we kind of summarize what we heard, what other people have done, and lesson learned, or kind of any consequences from regulations in other places. So we have Canada federal level, and then provincial level, and then we have New York. Update. We don't have an update still on New York, right, Steve? So it's still waiting on, it has not been signed by the governor.
Yeah, still waiting for.
Yeah, so this is still accurate.
Decision.
Yeah. Okay, so this was the main thing. All right. So AIB recommendations. This is summer. Is Ryan on? Maybe not. So Ryan sent, because he was having connection issues last meeting in November, Ryan sent kind of a summary of his comments based on the framework conversation that we were having. And so, and I think it was a great summary. So we tried to incorporate some of that into this about basically what AIB understands, right? So that this paragraph here is about AIB understands toxicity. So this is where we can add into the amphibians. And then we also understand the risk for pollinator exposure. I'm getting, can we mute? Maybe, thanks. And also
Somebody's eating potato chips.
I know, I think I don't hear it now, so I think we're okay. And about inconsistency of yield data. So we didn't have, so it kind of was like some showed increase in yield, some showed decrease in yield. And so it was just kind of inconsistent. And then that calls out is there a halo effect going on? We need to know more about that. So these are kind of the summary things. And so Sarah, I think you had a comment in here about, is it correct that all treated seeds are for non-food consumption? So we've already, let's see. If not, monetary support for moving away from treated seeds could result in greater foliar spray. Oh, so do you want to add something in here?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure, and that's already been confirmed. I was just making sure that we weren't supporting, switching a treated seed, which has really low pesticide available for humans to eat, versus spraying on the crop, which would lead to more pesticide exposure. But it's not relevant given that we've talked about this is not for humans to eat.
Okay, so we'll just have that sentence earlier and then, okay.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so this is the recommendations, and I don't see any comments on this, but let's go through this a little bit more. So kind of number one, recommendations support additional research. We called out looking into the impact of the halo effect. of basically universal use of neonic treated seeds, looking at non-target dust movement, especially if the seed industry is working on seed coatings that reduce the amount of abrasion. And so that's just been in the last year or two. So keeping that research going could give different dust results than some of the studies that we were looking at because they were older. It could have been with older technology. Looking into the alternative seed lubricants, alternative to talc and graphite, and then looking at the impact of kind of managing or mowing the buffers around the fields planted with treated seeds to reduce that pollinator impact, kind of where risk to exposure might be higher. Next big recommendation, education and training. So develop IPM guidance. This would be in collaboration with UVM or other places. We've heard a lot, like Jonathan was talking about, well, he really utilizes Cornell kind of IPM reports as well, but so kind of trying to bring that more locally here and developing regional monitoring reports that can help growers. Also, make sure that growers have access to all of this research that we're asking for, all the research that we learned about, so that they can make informed decisions as well. We have educate growers about the seed label language. So we learned about seed labels here. And so we called that out. I think members talked about how that label language is good and could be a point of emphasis in education for growers. Support among the members was to support and promote efforts to increase pollinator habitat without impacting agricultural production. So that got its own recommendation. And the fourth recommendation is one that we heard multiple times, is build in a mechanism for review and evaluation so that basically things can adjust as we continue to learn. So does anybody have anything more to add or any comments or thoughts on those recommendations that we would be sending to Agency of Ag? Emily, I see a hand raised.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I could talk now or wait to the public comment period.
Let's give, hold on 1 minute. I think we're really close for public comment period. So, and I just want to make sure no member has a comment right now on this, and just to finish that thought, and then I'll let you chime in.
Yeah, no,
okay, hold on.
no problem. Thanks.
Do any members have anything? Yeah, go ahead, Roy.
So I read through this a couple of times, and I'm not sure if I did see. I can't remember. I read it over the weekend. Was there one of the recommendations talking about development of educational materials? I wasn't sure if I saw that.
So let's read this to make sure that we're capturing. So if you can, so education and training. So we have develop IPM guidance for growers for how to reduce environmental impact of neonic treated seeds. So sub-bullet, develop information in collaboration with UVM on toxicity and potential risks of pollinators, decision-making, scouting, types of pests and management, and develop regional monitoring reports. Does that capture that, or do you want to add another?
I think so. I was thinking more about the next step, which is specifically stating workshops. I'm not sure what Anne Hazering's thought of that would be, but specifically deliberately educating. This is good, but the next step would be deliberate development of workshops. That's the thought.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Target that.
Develop workshops targeting grower education on use of neonic treated seeds or on anything and everything.
What if you just add that as well as saying receives updates, but also opportunities for workshops and other education kind of in that, because I assume all those same topics below are kind of what you're looking at, Morgan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of all of those things on scouting, types of pest management, risk to pollinators, neonic seeds.
Workshops.
That's exactly what I wrote down, Anne. If you can read my cell phone, you can see my cell phone. It's another thing.
Yes, I see everything that's on your cell phone, Roy.
Okay. Roy, tell me what's on your cell phone to make sure that they're all here.
Exactly what Anne mentioned there, but I would go a little bit further, and this is not suggesting, this is just adding thoughts here. Whether we should also add something in the realm of support for research and development of neonic alternatives and sustainable crop protection strategies, specifically tailored to Vermont's agricultural landscapes. I was just making notes, and I thought that might be something, but it might be well written already in there. If you want me to read that again, I can.
I want you to read it again. Yes.
What I wrote was support for research and development of neonic alternatives and sustainable crop protection strategies specifically tailored to Vermont's agricultural landscapes.
I got alternatives and strategy.
And sustainable crop protection strategies.
Thank you.
Specifically tailored to Vermont's agricultural landscapes. And what I mean by that is everything, target, non-target beneficials, so on and so forth.
Sorry, you're getting the, I'm not really good at transcription. Specifically tailored to Vermont.
Agricultural landscapes.
Yeah, okay.
That might not be the best language. I was just jotting notes as I was reading the
Yeah, no,
document
it's
the
good
first
to
time.
have.
Steve has his hand up.
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, I mean, these items are kind of underway already with the webinars that Heather has already scheduled and put in place. We've got a series, I think 6 webinars coming up, starting tomorrow, actually. That'll cover a lot of these kinds of things. But yeah, certainly, that doesn't mean we don't have more, but I just wanted to point that out that they're kind of already underway.
That's a good plug and reminder too, that I think I sent out the information for how to join and register for those webinars recently, maybe Friday. But let me know if you want, just shoot me a note and I can send that information again. Any other member comments on these recommendations?
Morgan, how far are we, how close are we to the end of the document?
we're there.
Okay, so we can do the public comment then
Yep.
after that. I think it'd probably be the most appropriate way to do it.
Yep. So I think I would love to hand it over to Emily if you'd like to.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I appreciate this.
Well, just for a second, just to make sure, before we go into public comment, do any other board members have any additional, anything additional they want to add to the discussion of the board before we go into public comment? And then I think what we need to do too, while we're here today, we need to talk about our next meeting. So we can, break protocol here a little bit and listen to public comment first and then go back into session and talk about when our next meeting is. If that's
Okay.
all right with everybody. Yeah.
This is Stephanie. I just wanted to, and I may have missed some of what Sarah was mentioning earlier, Sarah Owen, and Jill can also chime in as well. But the way we take information on treated seeds isn't divided by seeds used to cultivate for human and or animal silage or feed. So we don't make that distinction. And we just wanted to chime in to ensure that everyone here on the call understands that. And that just anecdotally, we have seen seed used for human consumption that is treated. It's just reported to us, and we have seen packages, and I'm not entirely, just examples of packages where those seeds have been treated with neonicotinoid treatments. So we just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that. Jill, if you wanted to add, if I misrepresented, or if you have additional information, that would be great. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have anything other than to say the information I have is not separated out human versus animal, soy or corn. My understanding is all corn is treated all over the country. So I can't say that all of ours just goes to silage. Same thing with soy. So just a clarification on how my numbers work.
Thanks, Jill and Stephanie. Any other comments before we truly hand it over to Emily? Okay, so we'll come back in after we do a public comment, and then we'll talk about just our next steps and next meetings. But go ahead, Emily.
Awesome. Thank you. This is good timing because my toddler is home from daycare with the snow and he just fell asleep. So good time for a comment. Yeah, so I'm glad that you made the distinction about the human consumption, because there are a lot of crops that do have treated seeds that have the neonic treatments on them, like squash, for example, sweet corn, soy. So I'm Emily May. I'm a pollinator conservation specialist with the Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation. I'm based in the Middlebury area. And just for context, our organization works with growers on pollinator habitat projects. We provide technical support on how you can increase habitat for pollinators and also protect pollinators from the effects of pest management practices. So my work here is thinking on the pesticide side of things. And I had just a couple of comments, and I provided Morgan with written comments to look through. So if you're going back through, I have most of what I wanted to say was just written down. So that's probably an easier way to look at it. One thing I did want to note or ask for, which was on the research side of things, it would be really great to have support for additional environmental monitoring. So thinking about, you mentioned that the human health risk is unlikely to come from food residue. I think in other areas of the country, the water contamination is the area of concern for human health intake. So there would be a need for environmental monitoring of residues, particularly in drinking water and well water in areas where there's a lot of corn treatments. So that would be one thing that I was hoping to see in here, was more environmental monitoring of water, soil, air, hive materials, and plants. The other thing wanted to note was just that there are additional options beyond the sort of seed coating improvements and lubricants in terms of mitigations at the time of planting. So thinking about looking around at how available and effective are other equipment modifications, which I didn't see in there. Some of the most promising seem to be filters on vacuum planters and the deflectors that move that air to the soil surface. So how available are those kinds of kits for planters, for the typical planters that people are using here? Some of the other thoughts on research, again, coming back there. I was trying to make notes while you guys were going through it. In terms of the halo effect, just thinking about, don't we have plenty of organic fields in the state that wouldn't have that legacy effect of neonics and could theoretically be used for comparison for pest pressure? So are there ways we could develop research that controls for those legacy effects to see what the impacts are of treatment versus non-treatment on the seed? And sorry that I didn't have this more organized here. Just going down through now, the last month you guys talked about the possible recommendation of eliminating flowering plants in field borders. And this is very close to home for what we do in terms of pollinator habitat. So I would say we don't support the recommendation to eliminate flowering plants in field borders unless it's pretty limited to just mowing of field edges, where you've got something like dandelions, annuals, biennial plants that are in bloom at that time. I would worry about having a really broad recommendation that would lead to like herbiciding all of the valuable habitat that comes on the side of fields, or taking out woody plants where you've got perennial forage that is maybe blooming before corn is planted. And those things can be really valuable resources for pollinators and working lands. So just something to consider. And the last thing is thinking about other mitigations for the other ways that these chemicals move off-site. So not just dust, but could we think about filter strips, windbreaks, other things that capture runoff, erosion, that kind of leaching subsurface movement. NRCS, we talked about this last time, but NRCS offers a lot of financial assistance for those types of practices. So just something else to consider. So if you want more, I wrote a lot of things down. And we also wrote a lot of things about treated seed disposal and thinking about, could we recommend ways to treat all of the leftover seed, contaminated seed bags, those types of things, to send them into more of a hazardous waste disposal stream rather than a solid waste disposal stream. Because not every landfill is going to be able to capture and mitigate neonics as they move out of those sites if they're not lined. So those are all written down in the comments if you want to look at them. Thanks a lot for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Emily. And I did send just this morning, I sent along the document that you provided to the AIB members. So they have your written comment as well. And
yeah, thank you. Thank you for those.
Thanks. And I have one other participant, I think, Christina. Yes, go ahead, Christina.
Alrighty, hello everyone. Thank you so much for giving me your time again. I just want to reintroduce myself. My name is Christina. I work with the Windsor Group, and right now we are currently working with the USDA on the Discrimination Financial Assistance Program. So a little bit about the program, it's just to help assist farmers and ranchers and forest landowners who have been discriminated against by USDA farm loan programs before January 2021. All technical assistance is free to applicants, and the deadline is coming up on January 13th of 2024. So we are hoping to reach as many farmers and ranchers as possible before the application deadline ends. I will drop my information in the chat below. Please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, my colleagues, or refer anyone you may know that this program applies to. Again, the deadline is coming up, so we are trying to reach as many farmers and ranchers as possible. Again, the technical assistance is free for if they have any questions, applying the application, sending out the application. We are here to help. But again, thank you so much, everyone, for your time, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Christina.
Can I
Morgan,
ask,
real quick- oh,
can I ask
sorry.
Christina a quick question? Christina, are you part of a New England team, or is your team broader in terms of the northeast?
So we are nationwide currently. I'm from New York, but I'm currently in Vermont right now, just doing some outreach, trying to get the word out. We are going, if we need to go state to state to help an applicant, we are more than happy to do so. We are here to get that application in, get them the assistance that they need.
Thanks.
Was there any other questions? And Morgan, real quick, by any chance, would you be able to send me this meeting recording?
Yep, I can send you, it will be posted online and I can send, sure, I can send you the link when it's up there.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. So Sarah, are you still with us? Do you want to go back?
Yes,
Yep.
I'm
Oh,
with you on the
sorry.
phone. I don't have, I don't know what's going on with my Teams, but I don't have power, so I'm halfway functioning.
Sorry. So, okay, so we're gonna go back up to, so your original sentence, I was gonna put up here. And so you were originally suggested as treated seed in Vermont is all / largely corn planted for silage. There's no concern for residue on food crops from treated seed. How do you want to?
Can I edit this in the next couple of days when I have
Of course.
better access? Okay, because
Yep.
and then I may also have some suggestions for where I left the other comment.
Yep. Yeah, just let me know. I think I get notified when you are in there, but just let me know when you're in there and finished editing, and then we can incorporate that into for the final review for the team.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. So our next.
Hey, Morgan.
Yep.
This is Steve. I'd like to throw in a thought or two.
Go ahead.
So first of all, I want to thank everybody for, their participation and attention to this over the last 17 months, I guess. So it's been a lot of activity and a lot of effort. With the basically the report that we're wrapping up today, I don't think we can say we're done with the work. I think we still got a lot of work to do. I think, the primary recommendations that come out of this is to basically get more information and do some more research. So I think the board will have an important role in making sure that that happens and keeping track of that. From speaking from the agency's perspective, we've already had some preliminary discussions with Heather about what to do as far as addressing some of those research goals. And I don't know, we'll have more discussions in the future. So the board, I think, needs to stay involved in that and, making sure that that happens. And then, like everyone said, reevaluating as we go forward. So unfortunately, I don't think we're done. I think we've done a lot of work, but we still got a lot of work to do. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. And I think the other thing
Steve, we lost you.
that, oh, can you hear me now? Oh,
I
can you
heard
hear
that.
me?
Yep. Yep. I hear.
Hang on, let me, well, okay. Yeah, we just have more work to do. So we need to stay tuned in, and I think we need to schedule at least 2 more meetings right now while we work together, if we can, for January, February, and then evaluate as we go forward, because there's some other topics too that I think the board needs to be thinking about besides neonicotinoids. There's agricultural plastics. There's some issues with rodenticides. There are probably some other issues that'll come up. So we just need to, keep working. But I appreciate everybody's efforts. And the secretary does too.
So right now, people's calendars should have a meeting for January 22nd on the books. So usually we have, so that is it's usually that 4th Monday. So that's why. So would you like to do the 4th Monday of February as well, which is the 26th, or am I running into school vacations? I don't know how school vacations affects everybody. So we could.
That's good for me. It's Wendy Sue.
Yeah.
26 is fine for me.
26. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so we have next meeting, we have January 22nd, and then we'll keep with the same 4th Monday, and so we'll do February 26th. Other important dates, so we do have our AIB annual report due to the legislature on January 15th. So we'll pull that together and send it out for review, just because it's going to be in between now and January 22nd, but it won't be things you haven't seen. It's basically going to be pulling from this, and then just a summary of what our charge was like last year and what we've been doing. So maybe just a little bit more elaboration into number of meetings and who we've heard from and things like that. So it's not going to be anything any new verbiage that you haven't seen, but we'll throw it together and send it out for review. That can be sent by January 15th. And same with this. So we'll finalize this document and then provide it to Agency of Ag, to Secretary of Ag, after we get the last edits from Sarah, and final okay from you guys. So I think that's kind of it. If you have I'll put this as a action item for us. I have in the minutes, what's our next topic? So I just wrote down ag plastics, rodenticides. If you have other things that you want to kind of add to the list, you can send them to me, so that we can have a discussion about it at the January and February meetings. Any other next steps? Yeah,
Morgan,
go
I
ahead.
just wanted to say, I think the microplastics in agriculture are a real issue. That's all.
Morgan, Steve, I think on the next agenda, we should have a discussion about the next topics that the board wants to tackle. Sort of an update on where we're at. Probably need to schedule a report from Heather about what's happening with her work and any plans for implementing the kind of research we've been talking about, and then have a discussion about what else we need to be tackling as a board.
Sure. Will do. Okay, are there any other members of the public who would like? I know we're a little bit jumping around, but are there any other members of the public who would like to give comment today? Okay, thank you. Thanks everyone for going through the document beforehand. I think that made this pretty smooth. And keep a lookout for me sending this back for final review. And then also let me know if you want the information again about how to register for the webinars that start tomorrow with Steve. Do I know? So that's it. Thanks everybody for your participation.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Morgan.
Yeah, thank you guys. Happy Monday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.